So thank you, everybody, for attending today. This is an information session for the upcoming request for applications that we did for the Career Development Award that's called a KL2. My name's Natalia Morone. I'm actually director of the KL2 program. And also I'm involved. I'm trying to think what else to say. I'm involved with workforce development at the CTSA. I'm actually also in the section of general internal medicine. I'm an internist. My research is in chronic pain. And I think because we have a group of people here, is it okay, Elia, if the CTSI, everyone introduce themselves? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a really good idea. So my name is Elia Morris. I'm the executive director for the BU CTSI. And I am here today with other members of the team. We wanted to make sure that everyone gets a chance to meet us, because once you get selected to be a case scholar, then you will work very closely with our team. So, and also a little bit later, we're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the CTSI resources and how to access those resources. So thank you. Miriam, do you want to go next?
Hello, I'm Miriam Castine. I am transitioning from one position to another, from senior research navigator to QA/QC management. I will be working closely with Dr. Morone, and so that's basically it. Thank you, and helping with applications and submissions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hubert, do you want to go next?
Hubert Wong. I'm the Assistant Director of Finance and Operations for the CTSI. And if you have any questions with regards to the WebCamp portal for your submission and any type of password issues or upload problems, please let me know, as well as Nick Trombley, who could help with that as well. Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you, Hubert. And you mentioned Nick, so Nick, you can go next.
Hi, I'm Nick Trombley. I'm the program administrator for the CTSI. As Hubert mentioned, I help him with all of the administrative aspects with all of our applications and services that we offer. I also provide administrative support to our informatics director, Bill Adams, and the informatics resources there. So if you're interested in any of those, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you. And then we also have Nazreen. Do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, my name is Nazreen. I'm the Communications and Outreach Specialist at the BU CTSI. If you have any questions about the website announcements or anything of this sort, please let me know.
Thank you. And then finally, but not on purpose, Raina, do you want to go ahead and mention what you do?
Yeah, no worries. But hi everyone, my name is Raina. I helped with finance and operations for the CTSI, so I may not be on all the emails, but I'll definitely be around to help with anything that you may need.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So there's a PowerPoint presentation that I have developed or that we created for today. And what I would like people is to feel free to put any questions you have in the chat. That's actually helpful because we might do an FAQ based on any questions you may have, but also feel free to raise your hand if you have questions, or because this is informal, there isn't a lot of us on. And I did ask if all of the CTSI team involved with the KL2 could be here, because in case I don't have if you have questions I can't answer, the team can answer it. So this is really meant to be informal, but and as informative as possible, so that you are prepared to submit the KL2. So let's see if I can advance the slides. Give me a second here. Here we go. All right. one of the missions of the Clinical and Translational Science Institute is for workforce development. And it's really a key program within the CTSI to offer the KL2, which is a career development program. And it's really, it's a key program across all of the CTSAs across the country. So I'm really glad that you're interested in applying, and I really do encourage all of you to apply for the award. It is what's considered a mentored career development award. The NIHK awards, the CTSI is funded through the National Institutes of Health. And so part of that funding includes the ability for Boston University to offer this K program. So it's a mentored career development award. It's for junior faculty who are interested in becoming clinical or are clinical and translational science researchers. It's for 2 years. It provides $100,000 a year in salary support, or basically the equivalent, or 75% protected time. In addition to that, like all NIH career development awards, it also includes funds for your research activities. For example, the $25,000 a year that you get for the 2 years for a total of $50,000 includes support for any research activities that you do, like your personnel, supplies, any professional services, participant reimbursements. But we also expect you to have a program to enrich your research understanding and knowledge. So that's why we provide tuition and fee funds for the part of that $25,000 can go towards tuition and fees or for conference travel. And I'm glad Elia's on. I wanted just to verify the limit is still $2,500 a year for conference travel.
That's correct.
Yeah. I'm just mentioning that because airfares, as we know, have gone up, but the NIH hasn't updated that requirement. And some of the requirements that you see here are because that's what the NIH requirements are for these awards. So you do need to be, in terms of eligibility, you do need to be a US citizen, a non-citizen national, or a permanent resident, have an MD, PhD, DDS, or equivalent degree. The reason we say that is really we accept throughout the different schools at BU, we accept anyone with these degrees that come, and we encourage that. We really like to see diversity in our scholars. You do need to have a junior faculty appointment by March 31st as an instructor, as an assistant professor. The other important criteria is you can't be a principal investigator of an R01 or an NIH funded K award when you're applying for this grant. You can't also be currently now or in the past be a former or current project leader on sub-projects, things called P01s or P50 grants. Basically what this is saying is the reason this is a requirement is because of the NIH, and we're interested in having people who are junior, are early enough in their career that they haven't already advanced to more advanced types of grants. And this K award in particularly is meant almost to be like, it is meant to be a precursor to an NIH career development award, like a K01, K08, K23. So if it's particularly a nice niche when you're not quite ready for an NIH, you're getting there, but not quite ready for an NIHK, but you're still able. So then this award is meant for that niche of folks. And so you can't really have a pending K award under review by the NIH. The NIH considers that to be too advanced. If you have enough, publications and enough experience, so to speak, to apply to an NIHK, then that would be too advanced for this KL2. We do require 2 primary mentors from different disciplines and a history of external funding. So then what I wanted to go over a little bit is the application requirements. We did streamline this a little bit this year to make it shorter. Instead of 12 pages total, we're making it an 8-page research proposal. But it has the components that you would expect in any career development award, particularly that you would give to the NIH. So the background of the candidate, this is information on, if you haven't seen a background statement, these background usually are 1 to 2 pages. And they talk about your prior education, your prior research experiences, and your prior accomplishments. So, and they'll also describe why you picked your topic of research and how, the plan, the steps, kind of the history of what led you to where you are. They're focused particularly on your research activities, not necessarily any other activities you may have done, except as they might relate to your research. The career goals and objectives, generally people will have 3 to 4 career goals and objectives that are related to what they would like to accomplish within those 2 years that will advance their careers. So this is typically a combination of educational objectives that you might have, but you also might have some personal objectives like leadership objectives that you might have for the time of your award. And you might even have specific, very specific types of methodologic areas that you want to get more training in. So those career goals are on a broader level of some of what your overall career goals are. Think of this as potentially your long and short-term career goals, and then the objectives that will help you during these 2 years of this award to get to that place. And then the career development should be related to your career goals and objectives, because those are the training that you will do during the 2 years of the award that will further the research in the area that you're interested in. And again, these 3 sections can be 1 to 2 pages, depending on how much you have to say. And then the research strategy is 4 pages exclusive of references, and this takes a format similar to the NIH and an NIH research strategy, where the specific aims is a separate page, and you see that here. But then it'll be your significance, innovation, your approach sections of the grant. Again, the 1-page abstract, I kind of updated that to reflect what like an NIHK, which would be 30 lines. So that's about a 500-word abstract, but a 30-line abstract, your specific aims, and then you do need to have a section on the protection of human subjects or animals if this applies to your work. The NIH style bio sketch and your mentor's bio sketch. Just as an aside, if you need any clarification on any of this information, or as you're writing the award, if you have questions, really please feel free to reach out to me or anyone and to help you out with this, because we really want to make this as straightforward as possible for you to write the proposal. Letters of support from your research mentors, 1 letter from each, and as well as from your department chair or your section chief. The letter from the chair or chief is a little bit different from your research mentor in the sense that the chair and you'll see it in the webpage where we talk about the requirements, where the chair needs to state that they will protect your time, that 75% protected time if you get the award, and that kind of support of your research. This is a 2-year budget. This award is for 2 years, so we do require you to write a budget with a justification. Again, if you've never done a budget and you need assistance from us, we're happy to help. The other support is required if you've ever if you've ever been involved with the NIH, they need to know any other grants that you have. So the format for some of this, or any questions you have, just ask us. If you're doing human subjects, we want your city certifications. And then this is a good question, Elia, is it the city certifications or the program that Mary Tara does for human subjects research? Is that good enough?
So, no, so what Mary Tara does is not sufficient. So if you're doing research that involves human subjects, we, in addition to the paperwork that you would submit your application, if you do get selected to be a P scholar, then there's a whole other process that we need to get through, and we need to submit prior approval for your project from NIH. But I think for the submission stage, I think what you have would suffice. I think once you get selected, then we would have a conversation about any additional paperwork that we need. So for the certification, this would be like your city certification or any trainings or certifications that you took, I'm assuming. So at this stage, it really is just an internal document, and I think that's just for us to know that you've been through the process. This won't go anywhere. It'll just be for us.
And then who would be who would be the financial administrator at your in your department or section? Since when the award is if you receive the award, we'll need to be talking to them.
Yeah, and I can just say something about that too. And Hubert and Nick, you can feel free to sort of jump in. But when you're in WebCamp, which is the portal that you're going to use to submit your application, there's a section where you can add an administrator. We encourage you to do that so that if you do get selected, or if we have questions, we can always connect with your administrator to get questions answered. Or once awarded, it would be great for us to have that contact so that we can work together to get you account set up and to get your project going. So that's an important thing to add if you can do that.
Thank you. So for some of the KL2 expectations that we have, I will be meeting with you quarterly informally to see how progress is going. With some of the scholars, progress goes, it's very smooth, and other times they may need assistance with different things. And so of course you can people reach out to me at any time. That's not a problem, but also it's an opportunity to kind of check in and see. And then I really want to meet at least once with you, with the scholar and their mentors, just so that we're all on the same page. I'd like people to complete individualized career development plans. This really helps us to make sure that we're supporting you. The CTSI really has many resources to support the scholars and actually researchers here at BMC and BU in their research. And so we really want people to be successful. And so part of meeting and having the plan is to support you in your research. As part of the Clinical Translational Science Institutes, they have what's called a Visiting Scholars Program. So it's a grand rounds and an opportunity to network with at least 3 senior scientists at one of the different CTSA institutions. So it's giving a talk and then meeting with 3 people. That has turned out to be a really popular program at the CTSA. The scholars have really enjoyed it. And so we have started to implement that starting this year. For the K, we require a yearly progress report as well as the NIH. So that's something that we report yearly. And then we really want people, again, to succeed in their careers. So we'd like them to apply for a K award or another career development award after they've been in the program for at least a year. Some people actually are ready. Some people may want more advanced awards than a K, but a lot of people go on to apply for a K. And then some of the deadlines, we have a notice of intent. So we for internal purposes, it's helpful for us to be prepared for all of the applications coming in. So we have, actually, it's just, it's the 15th. The 15th is next week, right? So a notice of intent. And then the application deadline is a month from that. And then our funding cycle is based on when our CTSA funding cycle is. So this is why we have, excuse me, April 1st as the fund start date. Like I said, you're welcome to email me. And actually, people have been emailing me with questions. And that's been really nice to see what people's questions are. So my contact information there is there. And Hubert, you also met Hubert today. So his contact is there. And then so this is just a chance because we've got you here at the meeting, and I just really want to encourage you. Wouldn't be here today if you weren't actively doing research at BMC and or Boston University. And so I would just take a moment to remind everyone that the CTSI is here to support you in your research. And I just want to give a chance, maybe Elia, and Elia, can you slightly adjust your microphone for some, I can usually hear you really well. And for some reason today, I can't hear you as well as I normally can.
Okay, is that better?
Not really. I don't know what's going
Really?
on.
I don't know what's going on. I was having issues all day today. Is that any better? No, you can't hear me.
I can hear you.
It's
If
just
you,
not
Yeah.
clear. Okay, I can try to adjust my volume. Sometimes that works. Does that help?
I think you'll just have to talk. You may just eventually need a new microphone.
This is a good one.
It sounds okay on my end.
It is.
That's-
Oh, so it's just me, Elia, so just ignore it. So thank you, Hubert.
Yeah, you mentioned, someone else had mentioned that to me earlier today. So yeah, so essentially, obviously, the CTSI is here to assist you, not just with your KL2 application, but to provide services, offerings, and resources to investigators who are doing research. If you go to Nesreen, who does our communications, you met a little while ago, she created this QR code. You can just use it and it'll take you right to our CTSI offering and resources. Because in addition to the K program, we also have other workforce development opportunities that you might be interested in to help you write future grants and in other trainings that somebody else also mentioned, Mary Tara, and some of our regulatory trainings. So you can go ahead and see what's there. The website has been designed to really help you navigate it very easily, and it's split into workforce development and support for clinical research, community engagement. So you'll be able to very quickly go in and see what area you're looking for assistance with and where you might need help. Also on our website, and every page, on the upper left hand corner of all of the pages, we have a box that says, have a question or need something from the CTSI. You can quickly link there and go to CTSI services at bu.edu, and you can submit a question or request for services based on what your needs are. So we try to make it easy.
Thank you, Elia. So, so there's questions in the chat, so I'm going to go over them and people can keep adding questions. That's great. So we are going to, will the PowerPoint be shared? Yes, we're planning to share the presentation afterwards, and Nesreen gave also a link where we'll be doing that. Then there's a question in terms of primary mentors from different disciplines. Does that mean different areas of expertise or different schools within the university? That's an excellent question. It's different areas of expertise. So I'll just give an example. When I had the K Award, I had both PhD and MD mentors, and because I studied chronic pain, it was naturally multidisciplinary. But much research actually is enriched by being multidisciplinary. So thank you for that question. And then Miriam, so another question, how often are the KL2 available? Certain K cycles may mean it will be hard to apply for this, even if you're not having success with K funding, suggesting KL2 might be a good fit. So these are offered, it's just once a year. The KL2s are offered once a year. And the way we have our funding cycle, you'll notice it's outside of the NIH system because it's more revolved around when we start our cycle every year. So once a year, and it'll be due in the early winter every year, as you're seeing. So
Maybe it would be good to also mention that for the CTSI, we have 3 slots available for K scholars that are awarded as part of our grant. And then how many slots are available depend on where within the cycle the different scholars are. And that's why this year we only have the 1 slot versus 3. Next year we'll have 2 because we'll appoint 1 this year, and then next year we'll have 2 spots available because 2 of the scholars will be cycling off of the grant. So in terms of how many slots we have available changes, and then yes, obviously the when it's available depends on our award cycle. And our grant also, just FYI, our current cycle goes through March 31st, 2025. So we have 2 years left on the grant. And then after that, we go in, we compete, and then hopefully we get refunded. And then the new grant would start April 1, 2025. And that will go for 7 years, which is, but the K will only go for 5 years. So I keep forgetting that because I keep thinking we're all together all the time, but that changed. But it'll be another 5 years or something, hopefully. I don't know if that helps, but I think in terms of planning, that might help a little bit.
it does. It's only once a year, and in any 1 year, we might have 1 or 2 slots available. And it's this year we don't have as many. So what is the definition of a project leader on a P50? A COI qualifies. You can't be a PI. You can't be a principal investigator on a grant, but a COI definitely qualifies. Thank you for asking. These are great questions. So Nazreen also has a link to the CTSI offerings and resources. So let's see. Oh, so what constitutes a notice of intent that is due next week? We may not have included what constitutes. Hubert, do you want to say?
Sure, yeah, it's pretty simple. It's basically your name, your department, some of your email address and your phone number. Really, it's a mechanism to create your application in WebCamp. And if you've done other applications with the CTSI, it'll be much easier. Your information is really there. And I believe most of you have already done that. I think there's already 10 notice of intents in there. So basically it's a function to create your application. And so and just to follow through with that, once that's done, you'll be able to log into WebCamp and edit your application, I think over the next couple of weeks. So you could, start putting your work experience, your education, upload documents. The only thing we ask is that you make sure you save as you go. We don't want you to lose any of that information. And at the end of that process, there's something called the completeness check. So if you click that button, it'll tell you if you're missing any required information, and you should be able to to go to the highlights, and it'll take you to that spot that you're missing. If you're all set, a blue button to submit will be there. And then once that's done, we'll have all your information. And if for some reason you missed something or forgot, you could email Nick or I, and we could upload something on your behalf, because once you submit, it's kind of done until for the review process. But we could do some administrative work if something happened. Or
Thank you, Hubert. That's helpful.
Sure.
When you say save as you go, you mean it automatically doesn't save?
no, it doesn't.
Okay.
So there's usually there's a save button in the top right or bottom right corners. It kind of moves around depending on what page you're on. The left side should have different tabs. There'll be your trainee application, your bio sketch page, and then the other one is your supporting documents, which will have a laundry list of things that you need to upload. The upload feature is pretty easy. You know, it's just select out of your computer usually, and you just hit apply and submit. So
Thank you.
Just want to follow up on that. So does it mean we have to upload all the required materials? Because I just went to the system and it needs us to put everything in there. And what's the difference between the January 17 deadline?
okay, yeah. So for the notice of intent, it's just your name, your email address, and phone number, and it'll create a webcam account for you if you don't already have one, and that's all that December 15th
Okay.
deadline is. The January one is where you need to have all your documents in there. But you could save as you go along. So if you want to do a few of them next week, you could do that. You could always go back into webcam and pick up where you left off.
All right. Thank you. That's really helpful.
And WebCamp is the software system that you're putting your application. So Hubert's so used to saying
Yeah.
WebCamp, but yeah.
It's our platform where it's going to hold your application, and it holds if you applied for other awards with us, you probably could see those in your account if you're using the same user login. I know some of you have done that. I recognize the names. So
Wonderful, thank you. And do you need a project summary? An abstract is what we're asking for, which you could think of it like a project summary, but it's but an abstract, yeah.
There's another question that just came in. I just saw that in the chat.
Uh-oh, did I miss it? Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't see it.
That's okay.
For citizen qualifications, can you qualify if you have applied for permanent residence but are waiting to hear? So this is where the NIH is strict. So this is why we're strict. So we have to follow the NIH. And so if you don't have it by the deadline of the application, then you should probably wait for next year to apply. I do think that's very strict, but we are following the NIH.
Yeah, and I could add to that as well. Once you get selected, because we are NIH funded, and this is a true K award, you know, it once you get awarded this award, this scholarship, we need to go through the appointment process with the ERA system within the NIH. So you need to have an ERA Commons address, and we officially appoint you. I don't know if any of you've ever been on training grants or things like that. We have to officially appoint you as a scholar, and if you don't have your citizenship or a permanent residency, we can't do that unless you have the paperwork in place, unfortunately. So it wouldn't be approved, even if we wanted to say go ahead and do it, the appointment would get approved. We actually need, if someone does have a permanent residence card or documentation at the time of the appointment, we actually ask you for that information, and that gets submitted along with your appointment information. So we require that documentation is provided at the time of the appointment.
Here's another question. Can a primary mentor be from another institution, not BU? Yes, this is fine. Again, the multidisciplinary nature of the research may actually mean you have to have a mentor from another institution. Sometimes applicants can sometimes have very specific fields where the field is fairly small. And so you may see that mentors are from more than one institution, but you really should have at least one mentor who's here and who has the institutional knowledge that someone from BU would have, or BMC. Another question, do you know approximately when applicants will hear back with outcome of application? January, probably within 6 weeks. I think we were thinking mid-February. We had set some internal deadlines. Do you remember, Elia, what we were hoping?
I can go look. I think we had expected a award date on the RFA, didn't we?
Mhm.
So we can check.
Yeah,
But 6 weeks sounds about right. I mean, the idea is we'd like to have the scholar selected and in place so we can go ahead through the appointment process and then start working with the person if they need to have prior approvals for human subjects research or animal research, so that when April 1 comes around, you're in good shape to hopefully start your project or start it shortly thereafter. So we really try to make sure that we get the awards out before April 1, which is when the grant would start.
those were all great questions. I'll give people a couple seconds here to see if they have anything more, but that was pretty comprehensive. I'm very appreciative of the questions. Here's another one. Is it the department administrator? I think you mentioned the financial admin we involve on our end, predetermined by CTSI, or just someone we know have worked with previously in our department? Generally, that person is going to be the person who manages your grants after they've been awarded. So if you don't know who it is, you can ask your, one of your mentors if they're in your section or your department, or you can ask your chief or chair who that is.
That's the best advice. And honestly, from my perspective and based on the role that we play in this process, it's just really important for us to know who that is, but it's even more important for you to know who that person is, because if you travel, you have expenses, you need to make sure your salary gets allocated and changed, and there's just so much that goes with it, and it's really important for you to have that connection. And I know in the past it's happened where someone is so early on in their career and they haven't had funding in the past, so they're not quite sure, who that person is. But yeah, your mentor, someone in the department is going to know, and they're going to send you to the right person that can help you. I think it's really important. I think also in the beginning stages, but then also throughout the grant, when you have your money and you have $25,000 that you need to spend, it's going to be great for you to have somebody to go to have a conversation about how you spend the money, what's the best way to allocate it, talk about time frames, make sure that you do it within the allotted time that you have. All of those things. We're here, we can support you, but we do really rely on each person who gets awarded to then work with their department to make sure that they're getting that support and assistance with spending their money, and then also making sure you're doing everything, within the BU and the NIH policy and guidelines. That's also important.
Yeah, and then just to add on that, I know a bunch of folks have research assistants working for them on their awards, and usually there's students and or grad students, and we could help with that process. It's a different hiring process for BU.
All right, well, if that's everything. If there aren't any more questions, then I think we can finish up. Thank you, everybody, for attending. We're all here. We're seriously here to be of assistance. That's why you're seeing every one of us who's here today. So I'm just really happy that you joined us. And again, reach out with any questions you have, and you're very, very welcome. We were more than happy to do the session today.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.